Hello, and welcome back to Hope is Kindled, the podcast where we journey through stories that shape the spirit, challenge the mind, nourish the soul, and occasionally whack us upside the head with a frying pan of truth. Now, I promise not to turn this into a dusty academic lecture. Pratchett himself would haunt me with a very cross footnote if I did. No, we're here for something much livelier, to reflect, with humor and a bit of awe, on how great stories can leave scorch marks on our souls in the best way possible. Because some stories don't just entertain, they burn. They unsettle. They knock down your assumptions, rearrange the furniture of your mind, and then politely suggest you dust under the sofa while you're at it. Pratchett knew this. He wrote with wit, with absurdity, with compassion and with the kind of sneaky wisdom that changes you before you realize it. His novels are not safe, to borrow from the never-ending stories bookseller. But they're also not grim. They're riotous, ridiculous, and full of hope, even in the face of death himself, who, incidentally, always speaks in capital letters. So, no, I won't capture every nuance, every pun, or every footnote, but what I can offer is a spark, a laugh, a moment of reflection, perhaps even a reminder that Discworld isn't really somewhere else, it's right here. Today's journey takes us to a flat world, balanced on the backs of 4 elephants, standing atop a giant turtle swimming through space. Yes, we're finally talking about Discworld, and the man who gave it to us, Sir Terry Pratchett, who once said,
"The reason that clichés become clichés is that they are the hammers and screwdrivers in the toolbox of communication."
The quote we started with today reframes clichés, often dismissed as lazy or tired, as essential tools. It reflects Pratchett's philosophy that language doesn't have to be lofty to be powerful, and that truth often comes dressed in something familiar. Just as Hope is Kindled finds profound meaning in everything from the Muppets to Orwell to Zelda, Pratchett reminds us that even the most overused phrase can still carry truth, humor, and hope if wielded with care. Fantasy often gets dismissed as escapism, but, as we've seen in episodes on the once and future King the Odyssey and Don Quixote, fantasy can often deliver the most piercing truths. Terry Pratchett knew this better than anyone. Pratchett's Discworld series is an extraordinary achievement, over 40 novels, each balancing satire, humor, and heartbreak with wisdom, critique, and genuine warmth. With influences ranging from Dickens to Douglas Adams and nods to Shakespeare, Lovecraft, and even Tolkien, Pratchett builds an alternate reality that reflects our own sharper, funnier, and, paradoxically, truer. Like Orwell's 1984, Pratchett used fiction to critique power. Like Kesey's Cuckoo's Nest, he questioned institutions. Like Cervantes, he mocked illusions, and like Wilde, he did it all with a wicked smile and impeccable timing. My own first encounter with Terry Pratchett came in the form of Witches Abroad, which I read as a young teen while traveling far from home. I remember sitting on a plane bound for Russia, and later on, a bus winding its way through Belarus and the Baltics, the unfamiliar landscapes outside contrasting with the warm familiarity of Pratchett's humor on the page. His wit and whimsy brought me joy and comfort in those days, and even sparked conversations with fellow travelers who noticed what I was reading. That book became the gateway to a lifelong fondness for Pratchett. I went on to collect many more of his works. And though I love them all, Moving Pictures holds a special place in my heart. It is, without question, my favorite. What captivated me most was Pratchett's satirical, affectionate depiction of the film industry. He captured the magic and absurdity of cinema in a way that rang true both to the starry-eyed fan and to anyone who's peeked behind the curtain of how movies get made. The parodies, the larger-than-life characters, the hilarious send-ups of Hollywood tropes, all of it resonated with me, not just as entertainment, but as a kind of commentary on our collective fascination with stories and images. Through laughter and exaggeration, Pratchett revealed both the silliness and the deep human longing behind our obsession with the silver screen. For me, Moving Pictures was proof that fantasy could not only transport us to other worlds, but also hold up a mirror to our own, and do so with humor, compassion, and a wink. Terence David John Pratchett was born in 1948 in Beaconsfield, Buckinghamshire. He left school at 17 to become a journalist, and his first novel, The Carpet People, was published in 1971. But it was with The Color of Magic in 1983 that Discworld was born. Diagnosed with early-onset Alzheimer's disease in 2007, Pratchett faced it with grace, activism, and honesty. He once said, "It's not how you live, but how well you get on with your life that matters." And he lived that truth. He died in 2015, surrounded by his family and his beloved cat. In a poignant echo of Gandalf in Tolkien, or even Gandalf as reimagined by T.H. White's Merlin, Terry left behind not just a bibliography, but a philosophy. In our earlier episode on the electric Kool-Aid acid test, we explored how Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters believed humor could be revolutionary. Pratchett's work proves it. He reveals the absurdity of our world through the mirror of fantasy, showing how laughter and love dismantle fear and tyranny. Take Sourcery 1988, where we meet a child prodigy of magical destruction. But instead of a grim, apocalyptic fable, Pratchett gives us Rincewind, a cowardly, lovable, stubborn wizard who saves the world by running away heroically. Courage here is not the absence of fear, but the perseverance of love, friendship, and absurdity. In Eric 1990, a Faustian tale is turned on its head literally. When a demon-summoning teenager ends up with Rincewind as his servant, we get an odyssey through hell, bureaucracy, and history, all to reveal that wish fulfillment isn't as satisfying as kindness. In Witches Abroad, 1991, Granny Weatherwax, Nanny Ogg, and Magrat explored the dangers of narrative determinism. Just as The Alchemist taught us that listening to our heart can lead us to our personal legend, Witches Abroad reminds us not to force people into someone else's fairy tale. Pratchett writes,
You can't go around building a better world for people. Only people can build a better world for people. Otherwise, it's just a cage.
In Jingo 1997, war is triggered over a newly discovered island, and Pratchett skewers the absurdity of nationalism, much like Joseph Heller did in Catch-22. Commander Vimes, one of the greatest characters in all of fantasy literature, states,
You can't go around building a better world for people. Only people can build a better world for people. Otherwise, it's just a cage.
That line appears again, and again, and again, because Terry knew we needed to hear it. And then there's Good Omens 1990, co-written with Neil Gaiman, where an angel and a demon try to prevent Armageddon, not because they're especially good or evil, but because they love the world. The trees, the bookstores, the sushi. It's the same message found in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, in The Brothers Karamazov, and even in One Piece.
Hope is what you do, not what you have.
Fantasy, in this way, becomes our shield and compass. In Pratchett's world, you'll find talking dogs, bumbling wizards, sentient luggage, and death with a scythe and a dry wit. And yet, there's no place more human. His books ask the most ancient and urgent questions. What does it mean to be good? Can we change? What is worth fighting for? His novels are profoundly psychological. In Moving Pictures 1990, Pratchett satirizes Hollywood, but also shows how mass media shapes identity and reality, much like 1984 warned us about language, or Frankenstein warned us about ambition. In Small Gods, belief shapes reality. Just as in The Alchemist or To Kill a Mockingbird, faith, dreams, and stories define our world. And in The Hogfather, Death himself steps in to play Santa Claus, reminding us that belief in impossible things is what makes us human.
You need to believe in things that aren't true. How else can they become?
Doesn't that echo the picture of Dorian Gray, Don Quixote, the once and future king? All stories where fantasy collides with reality and where truth is discovered in untruth. Terry Pratchett was funny, but never cruel. He used satire to heal, not harm. His work whispers,
You are not alone. You are part of the story. And you matter.
In this, he joins the ranks of Elie Wiesel, Gandhi, and Harper Lee, using words to empower. His books teach us to notice the overlooked, laugh at the absurd, fight for the vulnerable, and stay kind even when the world isn't. One of my favorite passages is from Night Watch, when Sam Vimes reflects,
There were hardly any jobs that a man could do that didn't sooner or later involve putting someone else in a hole in the ground.
It's brutal. But the solution? Vimes finds hope in doing one good thing at a time. In being better. Even if no one notices. To read Pratchett is to feel less alone. It's to know that someone out there understood the sorrow and silliness of life and turned it into a library of comfort, a magical world on the back of a turtle. A place where guards and witches and orangutan librarians can make you cry and laugh and feel like maybe, just maybe, there's still time to be good. In this podcast, we've walked with Homer's warriors, Cervantes' dreamers, Dostoevsky's doubters, and Orwell's rebels. Pratchett gives us another kind of hero, the foolish one who tries anyway. The one who might trip, stutter, run away, drink too much, or talk to cats, but who keeps going. And like the best of them, he shows us that hope doesn't live in crowns or spells or battles, but in small, stubborn kindnesses.
Do you not know that a man is not dead while his name is still spoken?
Sir Terry, we're still speaking your name. Thank you for joining me today on Hope is Kindled. If this is your first time visiting the Discworld, I hope you dive into it with joy and wonder. Read Sourcery. Read Jingo. Read Eric, The Truth, Witches Abroad, Going Postal, Night Watch, and Hogfather. Read Good Omens and look at the stars. Laugh. Think. And be kind. And remember, live the journey, for every destination is but a doorway to another. Good journey.